And welcome back. Will Worsham joins us now for this week's Speaking Legal discussion. Good to see you.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks
you
for
too.
coming in.
You bet.
Take a look at the question. My parents have property that they acquired when they were young that is worth a lot more than they paid for it. They are now on a fixed income, would like to sell it, but are worried about the tax consequences. Is there anything they can do to help with their income but not lose the benefit to taxes? Will, now I've asked you tax questions before and you went, and you brought your accountant in one time.
Yes, I did. And you know, that's still the right answer. We always want an accountant to be involved anytime that there's a tax question.
Right.
But this in particular deals with some property and some estate planning issues that I really would like to go ahead and address.
Okay.
Because in particular, there is an estate planning vehicle which is called a Charitable Remainder Trust, or CRT.
Okay.
And it deals specifically with this type of situation, and I'm personally a really big fan of it. We've started offering that service at our law firm for folks as well. So what happens with a Charitable Remainder Trust is it applies particularly in situations just like this where there is an appreciated asset.
Right.
So the problem that these folks are facing is that there is a large gain. You've heard of capital gains tax.
Right.
That's what the danger is here. There's a big capital that tax that will happen when that property is sold.
Mm-hmm.
What folks in this situation can do is they can create a charitable remainder trust. And in order to do that, they're going to pick a charity, 501c3, and say, we want to benefit that charity.
Okay.
And the way it's going to happen is they're going to donate this appreciated property to that charitable remainder trust.
Okay.
The charitable remainder trust is going to sell the property and is going to take the money that they get from that and they're going to invest it. And it's going to grow over time like any investment should. But they get to define the terms of that trust within certain limitations. But one of the benefits of that trust is, first of all, they made a charitable donation. That means they get an immediate tax benefit right now.
Right now. Mm-hmm.
Because they donated property to a charitable remainder trust. The next thing that's going to happen is they're going to set the terms of that trust to say, now for the remainder of our lives, we want the income that's produced off of the investments of that trust to be paid to us. So we're going to get the income of that property over time. So let's say that this generates $100,000 of cash and it goes into this charitable remainder trust. If you just assume you're going to get a 5% return, you're going to get $5,000 a year income off of that for the rest of your lives.
Yeah.
And your children's lives, if you designate them as a beneficiary after that.
You're setting yourself up with a trust fund of sorts.
A little bit, yeah. Now, what ultimately happens at the end of that payout of over the time, then the money that's left in the charitable remainder trust goes to the charity that you pick. So it benefits your church, your other charitable organization, be that Habitat for Humanity or any of the other great charities we have in the community.
Is it tough to set something like this up?
Not particularly. You know, it has to conform to the appropriate laws, you know, federal, state laws and all that stuff. But it's a vehicle that a lot of people use all the time. In fact, a lot of people that are involved in rental real estate particularly will use this because the kind of the business plan is there. I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to fix it up. I'm going to rent it out for 10, 15, 20 years until the note's paid off. I've got a paid-for house. It's appreciated in value. I've got gain. If I sell it, I have to pay capital gains tax, and I lose the rental income, but I can create a charitable remainder trust, put it in there, continue to get the income, not have to fix the toilets anymore.
Right. You don't have the responsibility.
You don't have the responsibility of managing the rental property.
But you haven't had to pay the capital gains.
You don't have to pay property tax every year.
It sounds like a win-win-win kind of situation.
I really like them. I think it's a great scenario for folks to use if they get into that situation where they have appreciated property. It doesn't have to be real estate. It could be stocks, you know, or anything that has value.
That sounds like I'm sure that answered the question. At least it gives a really nice avenue. People want to know more information about those. I'm sure they can get a hold of you.
Oh yeah, contact us at Worsham Law Firm. We'll be happy to talk to people about how to set up a charitable remainder trust.
All right, Will. Thanks very much.
You bet.
I've got to keep that in mind, too. If you have a legal question for Will, you can email him at wworsham@color10.com. He'll answer your question on the show. We'll be right back.